friends went home. The next day, Abel went to Mensa's house to call him for farming, as usual. Mensa refused. He told Abel that he was not farming anymore. He said that his future was bright and that he would soon be rich. He believed there was no need for him to suffer on the farm again. Abel was worried about this. He could not understand why Mensa had suddenly given up on farming. Abel cried and was broken as he remembered the future vision from the pot. The words and images stayed in his mind, troubling his heart. As days passed, things became normal in the village. Abel continued with farming in the village as always. He worked hard from morning till evening, believing that his efforts would one day change his life. Mensa, on the other hand, walked around the village eating his savings. He told people everywhere that he would soon be rich. He did not work anymore. Every morning, when people went out for work, Mensa stayed at home sleeping or busy doing nothing. He waited for manna to fall from heaven, believing that riches would come to him without effort. The villagers watched him with curiosity, while Abel continued his daily struggle on the farm. One night, after a long day of farming, Abel was sleeping and had a dream. In the dream, his grandmother appeared to him. She spoke to him calmly and told him to go to the neighboring village and expand his farming. Abel woke up from sleep in the morning and was confused about the dream he had the night before. The image of his grandmother speaking to him was still fresh in his mind. He sat quietly on his bed, thinking deeply about what the dream could mean. He was worried about leaving his comfort zone and moving to a new place. The idea of starting life again in another village scared him, but the message in the dream would not leave his heart. That same morning, Abel went to Mensa's house and told him about the dream. He explained how his grandmother appeared to him and advised him to go to the neighboring village and expand his farming. As soon as Mensa heard this, he burst into laughter. Mensa laughed at Abel and said, "Your future is poor. I have a bright future." He mocked Abel openly and told him that as soon as he became rich, he would make Abel his gate man. Abel felt deeply hurt by Mensa's words. He said nothing and slowly turned back toward his house. As Abel was going home sadly, Mensa was still laughing loudly behind him. The laughter followed Abel all the way until he could no longer hear it. The next day, Abel made a strong decision. He prepared his bags quietly, packed his few belongings, and left the village with hope in his heart. He believed that one day he would return home rich. Mensa waited, expecting to see his friend come around as usual, but Abel did not show up. Later that day, Mensa went to check on Abel, but the neighbors told him that Abel had already left the village. Mensa was not surprised by the news. He simply returned back home and continued his lazy lifestyle. He spent his days sleeping, eating, and doing nothing productive, still believing that riches would come to him without effort. Abel arrived at the new village after a long journey. At first, life was very hard for him. He engaged in farming for people, working on their farms from morning till evening. At night, he slept on the farm, resting his tired body under the open sky. He endured hunger, exhaustion, and loneliness, but he never complained. 6 months later, through savings from his hard work, Abel was able to buy his own piece of land. On that land, he planted potatoes. He worked tirelessly on his farm, watering, weeding, and protecting his crops. Slowly, the potatoes began to grow well. Back in the village, Mensa waited, but nothing happened. Days turned to months, and his life remained the same. One day, he heard from one of the villagers about a gold mining company. Immediately, Mensa remembered the gold he had seen in the cave. The memory filled his heart with greed and excitement. He decided to go back to the cave to steal the gold. The next day, Mensa went to the cave. He entered quietly and tried to reach the gold, but he did not succeed. Instead, he was bitten by a bee. Mensa ran out of the cave in pain and fear.